think anybody's going to let him back in, but I think Dana White would let him fight. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that it would be a good thing for Ryan to get away from everything, go live out in the country away from everything. And I think that Bryce Mitchell would learn a lot from Ryan in the boxing department, which he desperately, desperately needs. I see even Connor putting up the laughing faces at it, which, like, I'm not even mad at you for that, but he's already training MMA. I don't see it as a bad move for him. I think that it could go well. I think they both would benefit from it. So yeah, that's just my thought. All right, I see we're live on YouTube. Quick shout out to Dead Picks. He always gets us up. Thank you, bud. Thank you to everybody that's in here. Usman is running behind. And we're 2 topics in. We talked about Tracy Cortez's eyelash coming off, Khabib spitting on Connor. You can hear it in the full audio of the fight that the UFC released. And Bryce Mitchell wants to train Ryan Garcia. Next up, Paddy Pimblett is going to fight his contract out at UFC 304. That's legit. That's going down. He very, very recently said he hasn't even heard an offer yet. So, and that may be bullshit. He may be avoiding it. He brought up, hey, who knows? One of these YouTube boxers might want to pay me a couple million quid, he said, to go box with them. So, what do you think chances are he's going to leave the UFC? I feel like someone stole my gusto on this one. I can't remember who it was. I watch all this shit on Tuesday. I listen to it all day. Either Ariel or Bisbing or someone was talking about how he may not be a champion in the UFC. That may not get there for him. So before I throw it over to Ozzy, I'm going to pose the rest of the question. If he leaves, he says he doesn't want to go to another MMA promotion, but I heard Ariel say PFL would be stupid not to throw the sink at him. I agree. He's not a huge star. He's not, but he is a star. He has a lot of star power and a lot of star quality. What does Paddy Pimblett versus Usman or Magomedov look like? And what does Paddy Pimblett versus... Man, I had his name in here, and I guess it didn't save. I'm pretty pissed. I can't remember the fucking 155 champion over at PFL, the guy who won the tournament last year. I know it wasn't Clay Collard. Either way, Ozzy may remember his name, but comments on that, Ozzy?
Yeah, I don't think he does great against any of the champions. Not disrespecting him or anything. I just don't think he's 100% interested in it, to be honest. He's got a lot of other things going on. He doesn't fight very often, and he's never fought anyone near any of that level. He's years away, I think, popularity or not. Like, he's got to fight some contenders, and I don't think he gets through them. But you've seen, I'm sure you maybe going to talk about it later with the Diaz situation, but you got to hold on to your dick when you're dealing with these people promising you massive money, man, because it might not be coming. So UFC say what about fighter pay or whatever they pay their fighters, what they promise. No one's complaining that they're not getting their contract, and you go out to do these celebrity boxing matches, and you might not be getting paid. So I don't mind PFL. He's got a much better chance over there. He could win $1 million. That's a lot of money. Um, I don't think he's going to get that in the UFC, and I think the UFC would be kind of happy enough to let him go and let somebody pay him a shitload of money. I don't know how many fans he actually brings in. His fans are now UFC fans, so they're going to watch whether he's in or not. So, yeah, I think he needs to tread carefully.
I do too. And I don't think he does well against Brett Primus. I don't think he does well against Clay Collard. I don't think he does well against Umar. I'm not saying he can't beat any of those guys, but I'm just saying I don't feel like he does any better in the pool that they have to offer than he does in the UFC. And I agree 100% with what you said about his fans are now UFC fans. So that's going to be what it is. Yeah, I like that sentiment completely. I don't see any hands up. Dad Picks, nice to see you on the mic, but how you doing tonight? Might echo back
Yeah,
if
we
you talk.
kicking them, man. Just fucking, going through it. But yeah, we're good.
You want to see Patty Pimlet leave the UFC?
I don't
I
give a
gotta
fuck
know.
about Patty, bro. I think the
I
experiment
know
failed
you
on that
don't.
one.
That's why I asked.
Let him go box Jake. Let me go into BKFC. Let me go into
It would be Logan, right?
PFL.
Logan's like way bigger than him, but been calling him out forever, right?
I think Logan might destroy him, honestly, bro. I don't even like fucking Patty's hands, bro. I mean, if you want to box, bro, get out of here. Let him do jujitsu matches. That's better suits him. Let's be honest.
I think he mentioned that in a fucking interview. Actually, it's a possibility. I could be wrong, but I think he mentioned that. Roll right in. Nate Diaz filed a lawsuit against FAMU, claiming he owes them nine. They owe him $9 million for the Jorge fight. He claims that they promised him $1 million up front and $9 million on the back end, and they're not paying him. The lawsuit names the owner of FanMio, specifically, what's his name, Salomon Engel, for telling this all to Diaz. Uh, he says that he tried to contact Diaz repeatedly leading up to the event because he realized he was going to lose a lot of money. And, telling his team, like, I'm going to get divorced over this. My wife's going to leave me over the losses and shit. Uh, and they didn't care. Diaz's team story is that they said they grew suspicious that there could be a problem with getting the back end payment. So the money, if I understand this right, they were told the money was being held with a third party depositor. Um, but I don't know if that's bullshit or not. Uh, yeah, that's that's what they say on it. I did some quick math. So let's say they're supposed to pay Nate Diaz $10 million, which is pretty fucking insane, if I'm being honest. That would be fucking insane for them to promise him $10 million. But let's just say they did. So they promised him $10 million. Jorge, I assume, got his flat fee, which was a couple hundred grand. But if that's true, then I'm sure he's getting a piece of the pay-per-views too. So let's just say he's going to get a couple $1 million. They definitely paid out another $1 million to the salaries on the card. They paid pretty decent on that card. The events to rent buildings, to rent these venues is $1 million, $500,000, like $2 million. The shit gets expensive as fuck. So let's just say they were going to add up and be just short of $20 million. To cover $20 million at $80 a pay per view is 250,000 fucking pay per view buys. Who the fuck thought Jorge boxing Nate Diaz was gonna sell 250 million or 250,000 fucking pay-per-views? Okay, so they sold the place out. I guarantee you they sold that whole place out for a few $1 million. It wasn't no fucking $30 million gate. It wasn't no bullshit like that. They at tops they sold it out 5-6 million bucks. Fucking tops. So you thought they were going to sell 200,000, 180,000 pay-per-views? That's absolutely fucking silly to me, and I have no cash in for Fan Mio. But I'm having a hard time believing that they would promise Nate Diaz that money. They said that he was paid 7 figures on the front end, which is what he was promised, and they'll work the rest out in court. Aussie.
Yeah, I mean, if he got $1 million up front, his manager did his job. I'm sure his manager let him know the risks and said, mate, look, he just broke it down. Like you broke it down in 30 seconds. This was never going to be something he could pay. It was impossible. Do you think it even did 25,000 buys at that price? Um, give it easy access. Make it $20. People would have bought it. You would have got times the amount of buys if it was a reasonable price. I just don't get it. How pay per view works is 50% of the pay per view goes to the pay per view provider, right? So if it's $80, they're only making 40. Um, they're so far off the mark on this. I don't know what Hawaii's deal was. I know he was a co-promoter. He might have got his money first or up front. I don't know. But $9 million they promised this guy. It's hard to not take it in hopes that maybe you can get paid, maybe you can sue and recoup some money, settle out of court, even for another couple million. But that's far away from what the UFC were going to pay him. So good on Nate Diaz for getting what he got. I know he's pissed off he didn't get more, but like I said, you just you can't trust these guys, man. They haven't done it before. They're fucking cowboys. They're flying in and just promising these massive money, and people like Dana White are laughing. They're like, "Welcome to the losing money business." Like you cannot come in, put on big pay per views, and expect to make money. You got no brand name. You got nothing going on. All you got is the two fighters in front of you. This ain't Golden Boy Promotions or something like that. You want to box, you better find some people that know how to promote it. And this was promoted badly. And yeah, I don't know, man. I hope Diaz somehow gets paid. Fuck that guy. His wife should leave him. What a dickhead. Um, yeah, but I hope he gets his money, man, or at least some of it.
Yeah, if it was promised, I hope the dude has to pay it. If he's got it and you promised it, you got to fucking pay it. Losing money or whatever is not his problem. People don't realize the marketing machine that the UFC has built and pays for and funds. It's not as simple as, hey, we're on fucking ESPN. They're doing a lot. Um, if we were playing roulette, Aussie, and we had to pick the number, how many thousands of pay-per-views do we think that thing bet, and throw our marble on there to win some money, I would bet it sold 18,000 pay-per-views. Just my gut. I don't know why. I bet it sold 18 fucking thousand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I'm sure it's under 50,000. But either way, it's just crazy that this kind of stuff can happen at this level. Everyone knew it was happening, but no one was really prepared to pay for it. Even the UFC with their pay per views, I believe they pay in installments, right? Like they get their money off their fight purse comes through once they pass the piss tests, and then they wait a couple of weeks after the fight to get the true numbers. And some people buy the pay per view a week or so after the fight. It's still available for purchase. So until that goes down, then they calculate all their bullshit, and then I think they pay it in three installments. I could be wrong on that, but I know that has been the case in the past. But that could have been back in the Tito Ortiz days. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's pay per
No,
views a
I've heard
tricky business,
fighters.
man.
I've heard fighters say recently that they get a check they didn't even know they had coming, or they'll be on the, they'll be doing something, and the wife, I can't remember who it was, is like the wife's like, "Hey, you, I think you got a check," and it was like fucking 60 grand or some big ass number. They said like they somehow make residual money. I don't know if it's guys who had pay-per-view points and then those pay-per-views get bought, like added to the libraries. I don't know what it is or what makes that happen, but I know that guys do get checks, like you're saying, and the money rolls in for some time to come. Not forever, I don't think, but for some time to come. Um, what else do I got up here? So the UFC's class action lawsuit was turned down by the judge. We actually already talked about this, I think, but everybody's reporting it in depth now, saying that the judge could force it to go to trial. Same thing as it's always been, guys. The judge looked at it. He probably most likely looked at how much money the lawyers were going to make, opposed to how much money the fighters were getting, and took an issue with that right there. And then he probably also looked at it was only 10% of what they sued for in a settlement. So I would assume if they get up around 30%, there's a very good chance the judge is going to tell him you can try again. You have until this date, our court date, to put it back on my desk. And if I agree to that one, we don't have to go to trial. And the UFC probably lands at 35%, which is probably about 500 million bucks, which sounds like a lot, but they're just going to have to fucking eat it. and then the lawyers are probably going to have to take somewhere in the process of a couple of $10 million between them, not no $100 million. And I think the judge settles it outright. But if it goes to trial after the second offer, I would be very curious what the lawyers take. Aussie.
Yeah, forgive my ignorance on this, but I thought this was settled already. I thought they took the checks
No,
and
so they made an offer. So there was a settlement offer, and they took what is 10%. I think it was $165 million, but they wanted 1.6 billion or some shit. But the lawyers were gonna make fucking stacks of cash. Like it might have been more than 1.6. It might have been or 160 because the lawyers were gonna make fucking like someone estimated nearly $100 million off of this for their fucking cut and all the years they had into it and this shit. And immediately, I think it was Eric. I always say his last name wrong. The MMA lawyer who ignores me. He fucking hates me. I think. But he's got good content and contributes good shit, and I follow him. I think I remember him saying that the judge is likely going to look at how much the lawyers are taking and have an issue with that because that was made public and they were getting a lot of that cut. So when the offer's made, the judge has to approve it. When it hit the judge's desk, the judge says, no, this isn't a good deal. This is bullshit for the fighters. So now they likely will have the opportunity to try to come to an agreement before the court date. And the court date will likely get set and everybody will spin out of control that the lawsuit's going through. This could break the UFC. We're going to see videos everywhere, but they likely settle before that court date ever happens.
this
They
is
likely settle.
this is the problem with Mark Hunt too. Like these fighters, man, people trick them. They're leeches. These lawyers, they trick them into thinking that they're gonna shut down the UFC, and the UFC by law can't do this and that. Like, it's just insane. They're just sucking money out of these guys, and I know a lot of people don't like Mark Hunt, but that guy bled in there. He bled. He took the hits and he earned his money. And as stupid as the thing is he's doing, he's been coerced into doing it. He's been told he can do it. It's just he's losing hand over fist money, and he really believes the shit that's going on. Yeah, I really wish these guys had better counsel and friends and people that looked after him and explained shit to him because yeah, there's a lot of leeches out there.
Yeah, Mark Hunt he got mad about Brock being on juice and lawyers pumped his head up that he could win. And when the truth is, you made it public that you thought he was a juice head before the fight. I never seen the court trial. It wasn't made public, but I guarantee you that came up because you said it before the fight. You fucking acknowledged it. And if you knocked him out cold, you wanted paid. We've talked about it. You chase, you race. Leon Edwards is eyeing champ status at 185. I think we called that. I'm not like taking credit. I don't know if it was me or Aussie or Dead Picks or Usman or Trace or I don't know who it was, but I think we called that. I think that we called before he was ever fight Islam. He would go up to 185, not down to 155. And he looks fucking jacked. Have you guys seen him? He looks like a fucking model. Like, whatever. No diddy, no homo, but the dude is fucking jacked. I'm like, what the fuck are you bodybuilding for, or are you training for a fight? Crazy as fuck. Sean O'Malley won the ESPY award for Fighter of the Year, and people are fucking heated. Um, to be fair, it goes June to June, not July to July, like I've heard some people saying. It goes June to June is what they judge on. So AP's fourth fight would not. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Sean O'Malley is the MMA fighter of the fucking year. I don't know who votes on that shit, but that's ridiculous. It even without the last win from AP, he had 3 fucking wins. He was a champion. Like, how do you not? I don't know. Maybe you guys think I'm crazy and Sean O'Malley is the man. He has a problem with being under Ilya in the pound for pound rankings. I have to agree with that. There is no fucking way that he should be under Ilya. And everybody's like, oh, Ilya beat Volk. Yeah, but after Volk got beat, the dude was already on his way down. I don't see how beating Volkanovski at the point that he did gets him put in the pound for pound rankings above Sean O'Malley. That seems a little crazy to me. I don't know. So Dustin Poirier went on the MMA Hour and talked about his fight gear and his charity and said that Nurmagomedov was probably going to buy his fight gear and the money would go to the Good Fight Foundation from the Islam fight. And then he kind of shit on Michael Chandler a little bit. And he also kind of called Connor's toe injury bullshit. So from there, Connor went to social media and said that Khabib is a scam and all the shit he's been saying. And he started dogging out the Good Fight Foundation, saying that Dustin Poirier and his wife are scamming money. And then I think he deleted some of it, but it was caught, screenshotted. I I would just comment to say I don't believe that. I I think Dustin is very well paid. I don't think he runs that charity and does that shit to steal money. I don't I don't buy that narrative at all, actually. Yeah, whatever. I just wanted to get that out there, I guess. Michael Chandler. So Connor tweeted rebooked 2024, and Michael Chandler emoji pound fisted it. Yeah, man. Can you guys just give me a thumbs up if you care about Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler at this point?
Who gives a fuck, mate?
Yeah, I just don't feel like the masses care about that fight anymore. And then Mike Michael Chandler had said something about Dustin retiring. So Dustin made a comment about, I whipped your ass. You're not one of us, when he was on the MMA Hour. You're not a champion. You've won like one fight in the UFC. Played him off. So then Mike put dues paid, living rent free. I just want to say that I think Dustin Poirier should just steal the Conor McGregor fight from Michael Chandler. I think he could do it. I think the UFC would let him. They offered him the Islam fight in his own words. So, I heard I think Chael made the analogy actually, and I was like, "Oh, you hit it on the head." They told you they owe you $100, and then they said, "Well, here, let us give you this $1,000, which would be the Islam title shot." And you said no. They no longer feel like they owe you $100. They feel like you turned it down. I I don't know. I know that he'll probably get the fight. I just think Dustin should campaign to fucking take it from him and just fuck Michael Chandler. I'm so sick of him at this point. I've seen some thumbs up and some thumbs down. Whatever. Piss on him. I don't care. Sean Strickland wrecked his motorcycle again doing wheelies. Oh, Zabets, go ahead, bud. Get after it.
Yeah, that was me with the thumbs up, baby. I want to see that fight, but what I was gonna say, I have a question for you. What do you like? Who's gonna be Dustin's last fight? Because if you've seen the list, I think Connor was on it, but yeah, who's he gonna fight for his last fight?
I don't know. I think he waits a little bit to see who wins over the summer. Maybe who wins that Conor fight. I think that he will gun for Nate Diaz or Conor McGregor because those are epic fights. They are big fights. Even though I'm fucking tired of Conor. Conor versus Dustin sells way more than Conor versus Mike, in my opinion. So, um, Yeah, I think those are probably it. If he's looking to get it done and over with, I hate to spoil it. Gaethje and Volkanovski are probably fighting. That's probably going down. I'll take that off the list of announcements here. That one is heavily rumored and likely to be in the works for. I even got the card that it is supposed to be in the works for. Let me find it. UFC 308. They say that Gaethje Volkanovski is targeted for UFC 308. It's the same card that Islam is rumored to fight Armin on. That's Abu Dhabi, right? I think Abu Dhabi is 308. And then I seen that Jailton Almeida was trying to get the Surreal Gone fight, but they're saying that Gone versus Volkanovski is in the works for Volkov. So Gone, Volkov, Gaethje, Volkanovski, Islam, Armin are supposedly all in the works for UFC 308. Um, those are not, I'm not a source. I just go out there and find all these guys who have pretty good reputations. Um, I would credit them all, but it's hard to write them all down and credit everybody. And then some of them are right and some of them are wrong. So even though some of them dodge credit, I'm not taking credit. You dodge it when you miss it too. I'm scrolling down here. 309 does not have any other confirmed fights from what I can see. So I'll scroll back up to some topics here. Ozzy, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I just hate that fight for Volkanovski, man. He needs to stay away from Gage. Stick to his weight class, man. I don't want to see him up there. There's no reason for him to be up there. He's way undersized. He needs to stick to his weight class.
I think that Volkanovski has the problem that a lot of guys do when they go on a great run. It's hard for them to reset and find their place back in their own division doing what they did before they were the champ. Max Holloway is probably the most successful case of getting over that I have ever seen. YB?
If he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies. Anyway, Sean Strickland wrecked his bike doing wheelies. Outside of that, Sean Strickland basically said David Goggins is. He said he's a pussy, more or less. Like, whatever. He didn't say those words, but, that's what he said, right? So he basically belittled him. And then Goggins took to social media to say, I challenge you to come train with me for 3 days and we'll see who a real man is in one of my crazy training camps. And then Sean just was like, yeah, dude, to say that he'll box Sean because he's an old fashioned guy if Sean does the 3-day camp leading up to it. David Goggins is trying to get a little bit of fame off of Sean Strickland because Sean Strickland talks shit about him. So, fair play to him. But he don't want to fight Sean Strickland. He don't want to box Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland will beat the shit out of Goggins. Sean Strickland don't want to train with David Goggins. Let me be clear about that. He'll fucking be winded inside of like 3 hours. He'll be done. Fucking probably puking, right? Credit to David Goggins. Great for you. It's not the same though, bro. You are not going to get in a boxing ring and beat up Sean Strickland. You are out of your fucking mind. Ozzy.
Yeah, Goggins needs to relax a little bit. I know he likes this is probably the only place he gets his name, circulating other than the CrossFit nerds. But yeah, keep Strickland's name out your mouth because if you accidentally show up at his gym thinking it's going to be a good fucking publicity stunt, you're probably going to get your ass kicked. He's a fighter. He's not trying to be the best at exercise, and you put him in in there thinking you're going to be a video. Oh, this is going to get some hits, and Strickland's going to beat the shit out of you on camera. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, and um, I am a person who thinks if you want to call fighters out, some people give these guys shit. But if you want to call them out online and hide behind the thing and they're like, "Yeah, show up at the gym, I'll beat your ass." And then they do, I got no issue with it. You showed up to the gym. You thought you were tough. You thought you were going to fucking punch Sean Strickland in the face and fucking hurt him and get famous online. Fuck you. That's like that Navy SEAL who said, he literally said, I'd beat your fucking ass. You wouldn't last one round with me. He made that dude quit. That's what he should have done. He's a professional fucking fighter. Chimaev is trained. I, listen, I don't even want to say this. I feel like you guys are just going to laugh at me for even saying this. Chimaev is training in the mountains again. And he wants a title shot. I I don't know, man. Fuck that guy. But he did beat up some YouTuber from Russia who has like 15 million followers. But the weird thing is, we just seen Chimaev do the crypto scam, right? And we know he did the crypto scam. We 100% know that he did it and that them guys are trying to cover it. All of the headlines say and translate when you look them up that the YouTuber accepted his challenge to last 1 minute. So it looks like Chimaev challenged this dude with like 15 million followers to try and last 1 minute with them. I seen more than 1 minute of footage, even though Chimaev, he wasn't trying to kill him, but he was beating the hell out of him. I think Chimaev is super broke, guys. I'm not being funny. Like, every time his name gets brought up, every time we say something about him or we're talking about him lately, he's either canceling a fight or ripping somebody off. I think dude is fucking super broke. Just my opinion, man. Whatever. Sometimes I call these things a little bit. I don't know why I fucking follow all this shit so much. It's just my hobby. He's broke. Did anybody see Jake Paul and Mike Perry's little sit down at the bar, Dave and Buster's press conference? It's 25 minutes long. It's pretty funny. If you haven't watched it, you should go watch it. I hope Mike beats his ass, but Jake Paul prank called Mike, and if you missed it, you should go find it. He called him, and he's like, "Hey, this is some guy from ESPN. I got your number from." And then he says his manager's name or some shit. I want to know if I can interview you. And then he sets him up for the "what are you going to do when you get knocked the fuck out" question. But Mike completely went for it. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I think I'm going to get him out of there in the 7th round. He starts up kind of well, but slows down." Like, Mike totally bit. He was going for it 100%, no problem. Hook, line, and sinker. It was pretty good. I know that it's not getting a ton of attention. It's getting thousands of views, not millions of views. But I think Mike and Jake are fun to watch, and I'm actually going to tune in. I'm going to stream it. Like, look, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not paying for that shit, but I'm definitely going to stream it. I can't wait to stream it. It's going to be great.
When is that?
And I really hope this weekend, right? Yeah, this is fight week, bro. This is fight week for them. I'm pretty excited. I'm way more excited about that than I am Jandiroba versus Lemos. Like, Jesus, fuck, man. Way more excited about that.
Way more about that.
Jandiroba.
The French Canadian broadcast team or commentators, everybody's saying they leaked Ilya versus Max and Sean versus Merab at the Sphere. Ariel said he heard that they may still split them, that's not official. That may be 306 and 307. I don't know. I think them guys were just talking shit. I don't think that they have inside information from the UFC as the French Canadian broadcast team about who's going to be on Noche when nobody else on earth, it's like as well guarded as UFC's 300's main event at this point. So yeah, I just think that that's all fucking smoke, to be honest. Brendan Allen said he was offered to fight in Paris, but said if it's not the main event, he's not doing it. He's main event 3 cards in a row, and he's not fighting down. He's fighting up. He wants main event paychecks. However, when I scroll down to the list, it looks like Brendan Allen versus Amivov was announced as the co-main event for UFC Paris. So, despite him saying that, that looks like he's going to be fighting on the Paris card as the co-main. A couple of others that were confirmed for Paris are Faraz Zahabi, Matt Frivola, Victor Altamirano, Daniel Barez, Omar Sy versus Dawoon Jung, Daria Zelenikova versus Aline Perez, and Kevin Jusset versus Brian Battle. I'll be happy to see Frivola versus Ziam. And Jusset versus Battle will be a good fight. I don't really care about the Omar Sy fight that much. The Aline Perez fight won't be a bad woman's fight, but I'm not super excited about that one. And Altamirano, I don't know. I felt like we all expected a lot from him, and I don't want to say he didn't live up, but he's just not. At least for me, he's not what I thought he would be. So maybe he wins me back over. I don't know. I would like to ask him that one though. How many guys were taking Brian Battle over Kevin Jusset? Juicy, however it's said. No one even put a mic up. All right, fuck you guys. Am I disconnected or something? It's all right, man. I'm gonna keep going with my space. It's okay. All right. So let me. I try to block all this out. You know what? One that did get announced for Noche, since I just brought Noche up, was Manuel Torres and Inacio Bahamondes. That'll be a good fight, but all the fights that appear to be stacking up for Noche are not fights that I haven't seen one yet that I'm like, oh my god, that makes sense for UFC Noche. Like I think, is that Shannon? What's her name? I didn't. Oh, Shannon Bannon versus Elise versus a YouTuber. That's 304. Did you guys see that? Her opponent pulled out, so they booked her versus some YouTuber that's like 9-5.
Alice is a future champ, so you give her the respect she deserves.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah, that's the OnlyFans girl, right?
She could be an OnlyFans girl. I know she's social media famous and apparently has a very big YouTube. So, um, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she's got an OnlyFans for some money. But yeah, that's probably the one you're talking about. I don't know. A
Yes,
lot of
it
people
is.
are pissed at the UFC. They're catching a lot of shit for that one online. 305 Dan Hooker versus Gamrot, according to MMA Junkie. I don't I don't know if Dan Hooker can keep that on the feet, man. If I'm being honest. And if he does, can he swing with Gamrot? Is that a thing?
all I know,
At this point in his
all I
career?
know is,
What's that,
all
Zah?
I know is you can't really fade Dan Hooker no matter what.
I mean, at some point
Yeah.
we can fade Dan Hooker.
I don't like the chain wrestling
Dan,
for
Dan,
him.
Hoo- yeah. Dan Hooker's a blood and guts fighter on the feet. You know, he lives for these wars and these crazy moments. Gamrot is gonna shoot 20 takedowns in this fight, and it's just about how many Dan Hooker can
Stuff.
evade. You know, I know he's going to look for knees up the middle. I guarantee you, man, he's going to be threatening that knee. Any feint that Dan Hooker does is going to be a knee up the middle. You know, and try to scare Gamrot into shooting from far out. But yeah, I'd love it if Dan Hooker managed to get a knee KO on the takedown entry for sure. Because some of Gamrot's takedowns come from pretty far out. That's not always clinch and takedown or second chance takedowns. He likes to shoot from distance, and against a long guy with like Hooker that loves to throw knees, it's going to be a little bit interesting. But if Gamrot just takes him down, rinse and repeat, it could be a little bit boring. But Dan Hooker, I don't know why he keeps calling out these grapplers, man. He needs to start finding some more stand-up guys.
Yeah, I think he just wants the highest thing up the rankings he can get, and Gamrot's probably the highest thing up the rankings he can get. Like, I'm not at all trying to be a dick. I just don't think he's going to get anything much higher than that at this point. I don't think Dan Hooker is ready to accept any type of gatekeeper status at this point. I don't think that that's a thing. I think Dan Hooker still wants to at least idealize that he can make a run at the belt, even though I don't think he can. All right, I'm going to do a couple of quick fires. We got about 10 minutes here, and then I'm going to try to get over to the card for this weekend, even though I think we'll kind of blow through it pretty quickly. We're low staff this week, and it'll just probably run pretty quick. But TJ Dillashaw has put rumors of a return to rest. He said he's not doing it after all the surgeries and all that shit. He has no interest. PFL Africa is now set to launch in 2025. Francis Ngannou has still not fought for the PFL, but will serve as a chairman for the PFL Africa. Take him to the fucking cleaners, Francis. Take him to the fucking cleaners. AP's quote kickboxing rival Artem Vekatas is rumored to join the UFC through the Dana White Contender Series. People are making this out like it's a crazy rivalry. I didn't go back and watch it, but I think I'm gonna. There's claims, so they went to decision twice. I definitely seen that, and AP, and then a lot of people seem to be backing him. That the only reason that Artem won one of them was because AP was getting ready to leave the promotion and they weren't sure if he was going to stay, and it was a split decision. And or I'm sorry, that's the second fight. It was a majority decision, and they say it's fishy. Basically the same shit Israel said about one of his losses to AP. And then AP beat him in a split decision right before that. So they could be trying to build up someone to rival AP. If he makes it to the Contender Series and looks good, I would tell you, bet him. They're going to try to feed him all the way up to AP. They're going to try to make that a thing for sure. So if he makes the cut on Dana White's Contender Series and he's getting stupid matchups, you should know why. Just remember, they're trying to get him to AP. Rampage said he's working on boxing Rashad Evans in November under the ONE FC banner. He said that the Shannon Briggs, what's that up there? Yuri Prohaska always gets the coldest pictures. Oh, I don't know. I ain't got time to look at that. He said Shannon Briggs, the boxing match between him and Shannon Briggs fell out because the promoters were basically scammers, and he was a little disappointed in Shannon setting it up with them. But he did say that Shannon called a couple months before they canceled it and was like, yo, these motherfuckers are shady. And then, it all fell apart. So that's where it's at. Sorry. I had to stop for something to drink there. Cottonmouth's a motherfucker. Tom AP says he's not interested in fighting Tom Aspinall because it's not for the real belt. Good for you. Stay in your fucking division because I'm tired of hearing about it at this point. John Jones posted that he got half of his finger cut off at the airport and then deleted the post. And then someone zoomed in on a little piece of some training footage that he had in the gym, and his foot was all taped up again. I think the foot being taped up is pretty normal when he trains, so I don't find that as anything surprising at all. But if he injured his finger and it fucks the fight up, that's Jesus. Like, the fight, just fucking give the belt up already. I can't even defend you as a John guy. Like, I can't even be like, yep, go ahead, keep the belt. Like, at this point, it's getting fucking old. He's also got 2 misdemeanor charges for the time that USADA showed up at his house. And I think what we heard him say on the camera was, I think we're on YouTube, so I'll skip it, but I'll KI you motherfuckers. I think that's what he said. Athlete recovery coach Jose Garcia claims that Cesar Garcia has been sabotaging Nick Diaz's career because he has a heavy financial tie to it, and that since 2014 he has been managing Nick's career through through a team of people, and that they don't even talk that much, and that he doesn't like to travel afar, so he trying to put a lot of doubt into Nick that this was a bad idea, telling Nick he should have never taken this fight. They say on the flip side, he encouraged Nick to take the last fight that got him beat up. So, the Robbie Lawler fight. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where all that goes, but I feel like with Nate filing his lawsuit, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some crazy shit going down at the Diaz Academy or Gracie Baja or wherever the fuck they're at. Aussie.
Yeah, just really quick. Nick Diaz has got a team of managers. That's crazy. This dude never fights. He never does nothing. He's had
No,
one
so
fight in like what, 5 years?
I'm assuming that because they have affiliations through gyms, right?
I know it used to be Carlos Gracie used to be his manager for a long time, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. He needs a management team to fight out an existing contract. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, I think it's fucking insane. I don't know how any of that works. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that he's controlling a lot of Nick's finances, and that and I don't know. I just wouldn't be surprised if a lawsuit surfaces since his brother's already filing one against Fan Mio. For some reason, you tend to see them things come consecutively. People inspire people to do what they're doing, I guess. So I wouldn't be surprised. Dana White said they had a deal signed with HBO, and HBO wanted to change the production. So he called Lorenzo and said, "We can't do this." Lorenzo's like, "We already got the deal signed." They called Ari. Ari got him out of the deal. He said then they had a deal set up with CBS, and it was a video call, and Dana got in the call early, and the Showtime guys were going to be in on the call, and he didn't know that, and they hated each other. So they were screaming "fuck you" at each other by the time the head of CBS and Lorenzo got in the call, and then he said Lorenzo called him and was like, "Well, I guess that deal's not going down." And Dana was like, "No, I guess not." The funny thing was, is Dana said, the guy said, "I've never heard this before," and Dana said, "I've never told these stories before." Dana has told them stories before. We already knew that shit. I think Dana's getting old, man. He's been talking to the media for a long time, and I think he's forgetting. We've already heard them stories. I don't know if we heard about the "fuck you" on the phone call before, but we already knew that they were trying to do a deal with CBS for $1 billion that fell apart. I thought we already knew all that. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like they make old news into new news again. Remember when Ian Gary said he tried to pay someone 10 grand at Shoot to Box to spy on me about MVP? Well, fighter Mateus Terra from Shuto Box came forward and said that he was contacted and offered $10,000 to spy on Ian Gary. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I just don't think that makes a lot of sense. I don't think they would need to spend $10,000 to spy on Ian Gary. Maybe I'm tripping. Whatever. I don't think that makes a lot of fucking sense at all. So, um, but that's what they're claiming. Bo Nichols says he's fighting at MSG, but can't reveal the opponent. But he is fighting in 309 in MSG. Algeo and Evolov are going at it. Evolov are going at it. Aljo's doing polls on whether or not it should be a pay-per-view or a fight night, or just fucking get a fight done. Jesus Christ. King Mo is coming out of retirement to bare knuckle box Dave Mundell. He retired on 4 L's, man. Like, Jesus Christ. 43 years old. I don't even think everybody even knows who King Mo is that's listening right now, or that will listen on our YouTube. I don't even think everybody knows who the guy is. That's how fucking long it's been since he was on a streak. And I do want to comment to everybody who's told me that Maria Agapova could get on BKFC, and I was like, no way. Apparently she probably could. King Mo was gonna headline that card from the looks of it. Vergara versus Maxim fight got canceled, boys. Damon Jackson, Chepe, I feel like we talked about that. Gutierrez versus Javid Basharat. Carol Rosa, Penny Gizat, Marching Tibera, Sergey Spivak appear to all be in line, but there is also, I don't know, there was rumor that Spivak would fight Surreal, but that looks like it's going to be Volkov, so we'll just let that lay there. Song Kaynan, Ricky Glenn, Wong Kong, if I said that right, versus Victoria Leonardo. Jacqueline Amora versus Vanessa Demopoulos, and Andre Petrovsky versus Dylan Butka. I know that Andre Petrovsky versus Dylan Butka is going to be far over debated in spaces about breaking down fights. And I don't look forward to it at all. It's going to be like the hottest fucking topic of the card, for Christ's sake. That's all my headlines. That's all my topics. Some of you boys been in here since the beginning. Some of you guys have joined since. Thank you, everybody, for being in here for that. We're going to switch over to the card. UFC Vegas 94. I have to switch over my screens here too. Sorry, guys. You're going to hear a couple clicks. Close a few things here. Don't need any of that shit. Don't need any of that. We got the site open. All right, so the card goes down July 20th. This is us right here. Sorry about the delay there. UFC Vegas 94. First fight on the card is Mohammed Usman versus Thomas Petersen. I'll be honest. I know Petersen's coming off of a loss. I don't think a lot of Usman. I do think Usman probably gets this one done, and I would look at the over. Let me see. I'm going to bring up the odds right now. I'm getting all of that open on the site here. Let me see if they have the over under on this fight yet. Yeah, so the over under is set at 2.5, minus 215 for the under, or for the over, plus 165 for the under. As a parlay piece, I like the over. I think this is mid-level heavyweight with poor gas tanks. Both guys probably going to come out heavy. I don't think either one of them can put the other away. I just see it going the distance. Yeah, that's just my guess. I'll probably put, like I said, the over in away. Aussie.
Yeah, I got to disagree on just one point you made. This is not mid-level, but this is low-level. That's all I have to say about this fight.
Yeah, you're saying mid-level MMA. I'm saying, or low-level MMA. I'm saying mid-level heavyweight. For what heavyweight is, I'm definitely saying mid-level heavyweight. Mike, nice to see you on the mic, brother. I know you were having some problems. You got hit by that hurricane, bud? He's lagging behind, but he just got on the mic here. I know his internet and stuff was messed up. He said
Oh,
he
you talking
made a
to
chance to look at the cards. Yeah. Did you get hit by that hurricane?
me? Yeah, my internet just started working yesterday.
Man, that shit is crazy. Is your house? Is everything cool where you're at?
Oh yeah, I had a generator, so I was fine.
Obviously lost power and stuff. Structurally, though, everything was cool, huh?
Yeah, everything was cool. We were one of the lucky ones. A lot of shit happened in our neighborhood, but nothing by our house.
Hey, man, count your blessings however you can get them. I'm glad to hear that shit, for sincerely. What do you? I know you ain't got to like break him down, but who you taking? You taking Thomas Petersen, or you taking Mohammed Usman on this one?
I'm taking Usman. I thought he should be a pretty good favorite over Thomas Peterson. I don't think Peterson's going to be able to take him down, and I think Muhammad Usman can finish him, but I think it's more of Usman is going to just outpoint him over 15 minutes for a decision.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly what I think too. I like the over, and I'm curious if you can get a little bit better line on fight goes the distance for the extra half a round. Ditch the over and probably take the fight goes the distance. I think that's a better look. Or Usman by decision if you're playing the side. Next fight up is Luna Carol or Lana Carol. I think it's Luna Carolina. Sorry, and Lucie Paldova. So weirdly, Lucie Paldova is minus 108 on average. Carolina is minus 116. The over 2.5 is set at minus 410. And the under 2.5 is set at plus 290. I'm going to be 100% honest. I know that Paldova is coming off 2 losses to Perez and Edwards, and some people want to discount those losses to competition, but I don't view those losses any more valid than when um, when Carolina lost to Wood and McCain. I don't know. I think that Carolina is a pretty easy pick. I think the over is clearly the side. I think Carolina will have a little more, or Carolina, however it's said. I think she'll show a little more volume. I think she edges out the decision without much trouble here. And I actually think that she should be a little bit more than minus 116. I see she's minus 132 at some places and minus 110 at some others. Minus 110 ain't so bad on her, I guess, but or not so bad. I mean, those are great lines, I think. I would expect her to sit around minus 160 or minus 170. Aussie.
Yeah, so this is her first fight at 135, right? I think she missed weight her last time out at 125. Now she's up at 135. So I'll be interested to see the weigh-ins, I guess, before this fight, but it probably ends in split.
You're going to hunt the split, actually take it?
Yeah, I will. If it's plus 300, I'll take it. I think this goes a decision at a pretty big clip, and neither of these girls is great. So, yeah, it should look pretty messy.
Well, and at minus 400 for the over, I mean, you might be lucky to get fight goes the distance at minus 390 or some shit. So it's not exactly like you just want to play that. You got to try to find the edge. If you could get the split, I'll be honest, I would be surprised if you don't have to take that split at like minus 120 or some shit, bro. Like, I'm not kidding.
The worst I've seen on a split is plus 250. If I get this at plus 300, I'll take it.
Man, I'll bet you don't get it at plus 300. I'll bet you don't. You'll have to let me know when you guys do your space later this week. You'll have to let me know what you got it at, because I don't think you'll get it if I'm being 100% honest with you. Mike, who you taking on this one, bud?
Uh, I actually picked Carolina too, but I think it's going to be a close fight. So I think a split is probably the best bet you can make on this fight. If you got two different sports book, just do like each fighter split decision for plus money.
Yeah, if you can get it at plus money, I mean, I can't argue with that. I just can't see them giving very much on that. I mean, I don't hunt the splits like you guys do. I know you guys are on that shit all the time, so I'm no authority to say it. I just, man, if they give you plus 250 on the fucking split, you have to take that shit. See, that's how they get you though, right there. You hear me? You have to take that shit. You gotta bet it. Like, see, That's it right there. That's the hook. They got me right fucking there. All right. Up next is Loik, Radzhabov, and Trey Ogden. Let me see. Let me flip back over to the odds board here. I get going because I've got notes wrote for the show on all of this shit. My bad, guys. Minus 114, minus 110. Radzhabov is minus 114. That's an average over 33 books. If you were looking at Unibet right now, they're both sitting at minus 112, minus 120, 120, 121, 121. Like they are even money pretty much everywhere. The the over under is set at 2.5, minus 138 for the over. I would assume that the over is probably a play that a lot of people are going to play in their parlays. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't trust either one of these guys not to get finished at this point. And I know Trey Ogden is taking it to decision like every single fucking time. But like if you're riding a long leg parlay, you've got to look at the other side. And Radzhabov gets it done even late. So there's a good chance for a late finish. This is actually a skip for me. I don't feel like there's an edge on either side, unless you feel like you can find the Radzhabov finish. Like if you feel like you can see a path for him to finish, that might be an edge on the line for this fight. But I sincerely don't think that there's an edge for him to have a finishing side. Like specifically, like to bet him by KO or to bet him by sub, but I definitely think the possibility of him finishing is pretty strong. I know it's probably by knockout, but Trey Ogden could get clubbed and subbed, in my opinion. So that's my take on that fight. It's a skip for me. But I think if you're a parlay guy like I am, I'm not a money line better, guys. I'm not going to go out here. I'm not a guy who bets big stacks to make small stacks, who adds it all up. I play fucking parlays. I look for parlay places and parlay bets. And if I don't like a spot for a parlay that's going to be 4 legs to 6 legs, I'm not going to play it. So this one's a skip for me. Mike, you got anything on this fight? Mike might
Okay,
have
can you
stepped
hear
away.
me?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I actually am just on Trey Ogden. I think this is a very good underdog to bet on because no matter how dangerous the striker is, whether they're high volume or just a power puncher, he always knows how to keep it safe. He picks his shots, and more than not, he's getting his takedown whenever he times his entry. So I think as powerful and as big as Radzhabov is, I think Ogden just has him covered everywhere.
Yeah, but Ogden fades hard in the late rounds, bro.
But he
He
still
fades
keeps it
bad.
safe in the striking.
I
And it's
mean,
not like Radzhabov has the best cardio either, so it's not like he's going to be able to like really put him in any danger on the feet.
yeah, I mean, I can't argue that. I don't want to play up Radzhabov like I think he's some fucking showstopper. But you don't think he can get the takedowns on repeat?
Who, Radzhabov can get the takedowns?
Yeah.
No. Against Ogden, Ogden is a real good grappler in his own right, and everything with him is about timing and patience. He doesn't rush anything. He's not a brawler. He's not in there just to like I'm gonna make you feel my power. He everything about him is calculated. So I don't think he's gonna go recklessly against Radzhabov. So I think feet or on the ground, it's all him.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't do all that stuff, but he doesn't win either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just fucking with you. But we ain't got to kill this fight. Ozzy, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, just real quick on this fight. I haven't. I've just gone through Trey Ogden's fights. So I was going to watch some Radzhabov's fights today. Radzhabov, whatever his name is. Seeing one of his fights, he got like 11 takedowns or some shit. Like I just think of him from memory as a stand-up guy with insane power. Um, Yeah, it's crazy that he's been shooting takedowns as well. That's not kind of how I remember him. So yeah, it'd be interesting to watch his fights. But I'm gonna have to bounce out for a bit, guys, and maybe I'll catch the end of the show.
I appreciate you getting in here, Ozzy. Hopefully we see you back in here, bro, just because I enjoy talking to you. If not, I'll come through on Friday. Sometimes I can grab a mic. If I can, I will. And if I can't, I'm there to listen. And I do listen, man. I don't just turn it on and walk away. So thanks for coming in, bro. All right. I'm going to roll on. So next up is Miranda Maverick and Dione Barbosa. So Miranda Maverick is a space favorite. She's given us some interviews. She's hung out with us, in spaces. She's fucking super awesome person. Got the pickle company going. But I have said in here repeatedly, two Silvas and a Barbosa. I have said Natalia Silva, Carini Silva, Dione Barbosa. Until they hit a high level of competition, bet them to the fucking moon. Miranda was supposed to fight Tracy Cortez. That got canceled. Then she got rebooked versus Dione. Dione is plus 173 on the average of 33 different sports books. And Miranda is minus 217. You can see Dione as deep as, or as shallow as plus 160 and as deep as plus 185. Miranda gets real shallow at minus 240 in some cases. The over is set at 2.5 at minus 145 or 345 and plus 250 for the under. The over is probably really sexy to a lot of people, and I really like Dione Barbosa. But I'm probably going to look at the alternate, the over 1.5 in this fight for a parlay piece. I see a lot of finishing upside for Miranda Maverick, and I think that it happens late in the fight. If it happens, I don't see that she's going to come out there and just work her. That's not who Miranda is at all. She's not a person that's going to come out there and put it on you. I know in her earlier career, if I recall, she had some first round finishes, but I don't think we've seen a ton of that in recent years. So I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I actually don't always bring all their stats up in front of me. And I don't think Miranda's had any fucking first round finish in at least 5 years, right? Only one in the UFC. So, and that was her debut, UFC 254. She's went the distance several times and then had two submissions, one in the third round, one in the second round. I love Dione Barbosa, and I have said bet her to the moon. But I think she is the fighter to fade on this one. I like the over 1.5, and I like the Miranda Maverick inside the distance at a small, some pennies on it. If you're going to bet a side bet or look for something you could probably get some good odds on, I think Miranda inside the distance is a reasonable play. Aussie. God damn it. I said Aussie and I knew he's off the mic. I meant to say Mike, but I was trying to approve of Mike and then I got myself all fucked up. Mike, what do you got on this fight, bud?
Honestly, I don't have anything because I'm high on both of them, and I think they both can win on the ground. But since I didn't do the tape study, I really don't have a prediction.
So if I had to give a breakdown, and I haven't done a ton of tape study, particularly this now, but I have on Miranda in the past, and I have on Dione in the past, pretty in depth. I would think that Dione can survive early, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Miranda even be able to take her down pretty early and control her. Probably postured up a little bit, just kind of holding her down, beating her up, maybe looking for submissions. And I think she probably wears her down. I don't want to say Khabib style. Like, I'm not not that type of pressure or that type of grappling when she's got her on the cage and starting to crawl on her. But just in the sense that I think she'll be able to put her down in the corner, and I think that she'll be able to take the top control. And I think that Dione will probably be somewhat comfortable to take bottom position because she's really good. But man, I feel like Miranda Maverick is the fighter that just does not get pushed up the ladder the way she should. And I know it's blah 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 meritocracy, and she lost a couple fights, but I feel like she could fight higher level competition than she does. So I think it's Miranda inside the distance over 1.5. That's my whole little analyst there. I'm not very good at this stuff, guys, though, so do not bet on what I say. And I'm not being a smartass there. Dead Picks, you still with me, bud? Yeah, he's got 2 mics going and shit. It's cool. I know he walks away, but he gets production going, so I love him for it. He's probably doing his fucking dishes. Next up is Hyder, Amil, and Jeong Lee. These dudes are fighting at featherweight. I'll be honest. I know Lee is like on a little bit of a tear. He beat Builder and some. I think that were all his other guys on road to the UFC. Yeah, because that was the finale, right? Everything else he did has been road to the UFC. I think. So it looks really good if you just click the UFC stats that he's got sub, split, and then unanimous decision. But you can kind of see as the competition has stepped up, he's faded a little bit. I'm not very high on Amil Hyder. Just going to be completely honest. This isn't a fight that I'm very heavy on, or either of the fighters. I'm looking at the stats now. Man, I don't know. I've got nothing on it. I'm going to give you guys some odds, though, and give you some over-unders. And I'm not going to give you any bullshit advice because I don't have a real take on it. Lee is minus 192 over 30 books. Amil is plus 156. The over is set at 2.5 at minus 125, and the under is minus 105. So as a better in me, what I'm going to do as Friday get closer is I'm going to look to see what the over 1.5 is, the alternate, maybe get it at minus 170, minus 180. And see if I like that. If they're split on whether or not it'll go over 2.5, I'm just gonna try to see if I can cover the over 1.5 in a parlay piece. I can't promise that I'm gonna do it on this fight, but as I start looking for my 5th and 6th leg, I try not to repeat everything. I hate when one bet bust. If I got 3 parlays, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, that's 30 or $60 for me. I don't bet huge. I don't need to bet it to the moon to enjoy it. But if I've got 3 parlays out there, I try not to repeat a bunch of legs. I don't try not to repeat the fight. I just try not to repeat the leg. Like if I take the over in the Miranda fight in one, and then I take the Miranda inside the distance in another. If I'm doing 3 parlays, I'm gonna skip it in the third. I don't have to be like, oh, that's my safe piece. I try to build different plays, and that's probably one that I'll look to cash on the over 1.5 if I can. Mike, you playing this fight at all? I mean, there's not a lot of history on these guys, and I know you didn't get to hit tape this week, but is this one you're on, bud?
No, but I'm pretty sure that like Jeong Lee should be able to come out the winner of that fight. He's faced some pretty good competition, even though they're not known. And the only thing I think Hyder and Mill can really do is try to wear on him as the fight goes on, but he doesn't really have the best setup or striking defense. So I think Lee's just gonna piece him up the whole fight.
Yeah. I got nothing to dispute that. I will say that he came in hot off of the road to the UFC. So, you think he can get it done early though?
Early, no. Emil's tough. He really likes to put on a fight, and he could take a shot. So I think Lee's just gonna win a decision.
So the over 1.5 might be a nice little play to throw in somewhere, even in your opinion. And I wasn't setting you up to, I'm reading what you're saying. Yeah, I think that over 1.5 is probably. And I'm gonna note that here. Hold on, I actually do that on pen here. Give me 1.5. All right, my bad, guys. I try not to stall, but that might be a good play to try to look into. Up next, Bill Algeo and Duho Choi. Bill Algeo is minus 172. 32 books are reporting this for 11 days. Duho Choi is plus 137. The over 2.5 is set at minus 180. The under 2.5 is plus 140. I don't know how anybody could bet Choi. Yeah, I don't know how you could bet him in any situation at this point. Bill Algeo is definitely going to outpace him. They both got pretty shit striking defense. Like that's not even a question. I think Bill Algeo, even though he's not a huge grappler, I think he could show what's the word I'm looking for? A better grappling prowess here. I think that would be the word I'm looking for. Like I think like he'll be able, even though he's not traditionally a great grappler in my opinion, I think that he'll be able to take a grappling advantage if he needs to, even against the cage. I do not like the over though, man. Like Choi is not. I don't know, man. I think that the Bill Algeo sub could happen. I don't think Choi is good. Maybe I'm being biased here. I'm clicking stats to see if I'm wrong. Like, so he got knocked out, majority decisions, unanimous decisions. His last win was Thiago Tavares in 2016. Um, Man, he skipped 2 years, then came back and lost to Jeremy Stevens. Well, no, he lost to Cub Swanson in 16, skipped 2 years, lost to Jeremy Stevens, skipped a year, lost to almost 2 years in the gap, and lost to Charles Jourdain, skipped a year and a half, came back, lost to Kyle Nelson. I don't think it's up from him for here. And I think Bill Algeo at minus 172. I'm not, like you guys heard me say, I'm not a money line guy, but I think Bill Algeo money line is a good play. And man, maybe a 3-leg where I take Miranda Maverick inside the distance, Bill Algeo inside the distance, and we keep looking at this card and find another one. But yeah, I just don't see how Choi is bettable at all. But Mike will probably shove that shit down my throat. Mike, what are you taking on this fight, bud?
I think it's Bill Algeo too. Even though they both, you hit it perfectly when you talked about their striking defense, but Choi has a chin. I don't think Algeo is going to submit him or knock him out. I think Algeo's footwork is going to do a lot of heavy lifting for him in this fight, and as long as he keeps it at a distance, he should be able to pick him apart for 15 minutes. I I really don't see how he's going to be able to knock him out. Choi can take a shot.
Yeah, but he got knocked out by Charles Jourdain, bro.
Charles Jourdain is a good striker, man. Come on.
Charles Jourdain has one knockout in the UFC in all his 20 fucking fights.
But he
I
has
think
good
that
fights.
he's
Those are
probably
banging
got.
fights, man.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I'm looking right now. All right, so he knocked out Mauricio uh, Rojo. He knocked out Charles Jourdain 100 years ago. Yeah, bro. I don't know. I don't think it's whatever. Whatever. I'm talking shit. This fight isn't worth carrying on about here. Let me get back over to the odds board here. Um, all right. So up next is Cody Durden and Bruno Silva. Cody Durden is sitting at 31 books, guys, 11 days. If you haven't been to Cap MMA, I haven't plugged it on this space. I won't take a long plug, but capmma.com is our odds board. We've got over-unders right now. We've got money lines. We report from up to 60 books. There's always 30-something books reporting. That's usually what hits MMA. But for crazy fights, we'll see more than that reporting. We do get some LFA odds. We get one odds, Bellator odds, PFL odds. Every now and then we pick up some crazy kickboxing like K1 and shit. We'll get those odds. We give you averages, and there's a little column next to everybody's name, 2 columns over. So the columns are how long it's been on our board, how many books are reporting it, and then if there's a blue icon lit up, those are the news stories from 7 of the biggest outlets in the past 3 weeks. You can type in most fighters' names, any fighters you want in the UFC, check UFC, and compare their stats. Our rankings are live. Our leaderboards are live. That's for one, PFL, UFC. When you click the rankings or you click the leaderboards, it is live information. Our system fetches it for you. You'll notice it takes about 5 seconds to load. That's because it goes out and reads it and then brings it back and gives you live information. CapMMA.com. I've been working hard on it. Click parlays, click compare, click rounds, and you can actually build your own parlays, and it'll give you the totals at the top. So you could see what your odds are at all the different boards. So like we've seen where DraftKings are getting, like plus 1,800. But then if you over at Bet Online, you'd be getting plus 2,200 or plus 2,600. So if you're playing 2 sports books, it's a handy tool to have. And pretty soon, I'm hoping to have it so that you can arrange the books so you can put the ones that you want to see right next to each other. The not so close future, but the not so distant future. Anyways, back over to the Durden, or back over to the fights. Bruno Silva is minus 103. Cody Durden is minus 122. The over under is set at 2.5 rounds, minus 210 for the over, plus 160 for the under. There's probably not a lot of arguing with that over in this fight. Yeah, there's probably just not a lot of arguing with that over in this fight. I don't think either one of these guys been finished in their last 5. Oh yeah. Durden got subbed by Tajir, and then Bruno Silva, he's coming off of 2 wins. Nope, 3. But he's never been finished. Yeah, I don't know. Even though they've got low fight averages, it's because they get finishes. I think these guys are both durable. I like the over as a parlay piece, and I'll keep it simple. I don't need to take a side because I don't care to take a side, but I think it'll be a fun fight to watch. Mike, what do you, bud? Also, let me send you this co-host thing, man. I don't know why I didn't do that earlier, bro. You're in the team room. You're one of the crew. I'm just used to having Usman and Dead Picks up here on Tuesdays, man. Anyways, Mike, what do you got on this fight, bud? You're muted, or you can't hear me because you accepted the invite and fucked your mic up.
Okay. Look, I'm actually a big fan of both of them, especially Cody. But man, Bruno Silva is just fast. I think that speed is going to be the big difference between them two, and I think Silva is going to catch him and either finish him or he's going to sub him.
Yeah, so my problem and my holdup is probably that I don't know why, but I've done Cody Durden highlight reels for fun. And I know Cody's got that dog in him, and I know that he may not be considered a great grappler, but when he's got to, he has some skills that'll pull him through some fights. So I don't know, man. I like Cody, but I'm not picking his ass. I'm just taking the over, like I said. Just trying to give you a little devil's advocate there for the sake of arguing for my guy Cody. I've met him. He's a nice guy. Uh, my buddy S1, that's my buddy Scott, man. He's one of the guys I watch fights with. He's in here tonight listening. He meets all these fighters with me too, man. Cody's a pretty good guy. What do I got here? What's next here? If we go down the list, it should be Kurt Holobaugh versus Kaynan Kruschewsky. I'm close. 32 books, 11 days, minus 135 on Kaynan, and plus 109 on Kirk Holobaugh. The over is set at 1.5. You're getting minus 215 for the over 1.5, plus 165 for the under 1.5. I'm very honest with everybody about knowing when I shouldn't bet a fight. I'm a big fan of Kirk Holobaugh. Um, you know, I I know. I know he's I know, guys. I know. You don't gotta tell me. I know he's not great. But I'm a big fan of the guy. I'm a big fan of the way he fights. I think he's a pretty good guy. I think he's a pretty sound person. So I would probably end up betting him just because I like him here. I know Kanan's coming off of a loss, second fight in the UFC, and I think that his win was, Dana White Contender Series. That's what I thought. And then he came in and got knocked out by fucking Elvis Brenner in like 4 minutes. I don't think either one of these guys are great at this point in Kirk's career, but I'll probably look at the Kurt Holobaugh KO prop and see what I can get on that. Maybe I take Kirk, Miranda. Maybe he's the third. Maybe he's the third leg there. Maybe I take Kirk, Miranda, and Algeo to finish inside the distance. Mike, what do you got on this fight?
I actually don't have anything on this fight. I barely remember Kruschewsky or whatever his name is. So yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the degenerate in us shouldn't need to bet this fight, and it should just be a skip. I just like Kurt. Like, I like the dude. I watched him on Tough and shit. I'm a sap. Usman's usually in here with me. We're fucking guys who watch Tough. If I could speak everything they spoke, I'd watch all the Road to UFC shit too. But I listen a lot. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I listen to the press conferences twice because I don't watch it. I listen to Tough twice because I hardly look at it at all. So I usually listen to everything like twice, and I like Kirk, so that's a hard spot for me. Up next is Sungwoo Choi and Steve Garcia. This is what are these guys fighting at? 145? Yeah, 145. Let's see what the odds board says here. Steve Garcia Jr. minus 149. Choi, or yeah, I think it's Choi. I do have a hard time with some of the Asian names. Plus 120. I think that's totally justified. I think Steve Garcia is the side. The over 1.5 is set at plus 150. The under is set at minus 195. The books are telling you right there. Man, I don't know. Maybe that parlay gets chopped a different way because Steve Garcia inside the distance is probably a very nice play there, in my opinion. Mike, what do you got on this fight?
Yeah, I got Steve Garcia too, man. That man's an animal when he starts wrestling, especially when he gets on top. I think if he gets on top of you, you're pretty much about to be finished. And as bad as his defense is, and Singwoo Choi can land a couple straight shots while he's getting charged at, I don't think Sangwoo Choi is going to be able to keep up with the pace that Garcia is going to put out if he doesn't finish him. So Garcia is the side, especially at that price. That's a good price on him.
Yeah, minus 149. I was surprised at that, to be honest, bro. I'm like, damn, that's a good line. I started scrolling down here to see where he was at on other books because, I just read the averages here. And DraftKings got his ass at minus 148. Not a bad line at all. His worst line is minus 159, and that is Leo Betts and Grosvenor. It's not an American book. I'm not sure exactly how it's said. But those are the worst lines on them. If anybody goes to the site, red lines are the worst ones. Uh, green lines are the best lines. Green arrows means Obviously, the line has gotten better. Red arrows means the line has gotten worse, and blue arrows means that line has flipped. How to use it, I promise, guys, you can look at our board and know a whole lot about the odds of a fight without having to open a whole bunch of charts or do a whole bunch of shit. I try to put as much there as I can for everybody to see. All right, I'm gonna move on. I don't see much hands. I think it's just me and Mike hammering it today, and I'm all right with that. Brad Tavares and the Iron Turtle Park. Jeong Park. Minus 169 on Park, plus 136 on Tavares, 34 books. The over is set at minus 2.5 or over 2.5 at minus 220, under 2.5 at plus 170. It's Iron Turtle all day for me in this one. I'm not a guy I don't think I've ever bet Iron Turtle. It's not saying that I fade him, but I think I skip him. I'll try to be honest here. I try to be not bullshit. Let me see. Iron Turtle. If he had, I didn't. Tulian, Gervais, Holmes, Anders. Okay, so I probably took him against Eric Anders. That's being fair. I probably took his ass against Eric Anders. But other than that, I really just skip him. I think he's a guy that gets it done a lot. I don't think he's exciting to watch. I think he is a fucking parlay killer when you bet against him most of the time. And I feel like people love to fade him. Brad Tavares, though, man, fall from grace. He came in hot, went on a stint, got hot again, went on a stint, still on a stint. I know Brad Tavares is the bigger guy here. I know that his striking is pretty good. He doesn't actually have a ton of volume, even though striking is like seemingly like his high point. You know what I mean? Like seemingly his skill set. He doesn't have high volume. He's a 1-for-1 fighter. I think he gets subbed. I'll probably take the Park money line in a parlay. I'll probably find the Park sub in a parlay. Yeah, I think it's writing on the wall. Has he ever been subbed? I'm trying to look right now. I don't know if Tavares has ever been subbed, but I don't care. I still think the Iron Turtle could sub him late. I know if Ozzy was in the room right now, I know he's probably listening, but if he could speak, I know he would be saying he's probably looking at some late round specific props on this one. Yeah, this one's Turtle all day for me. Find your spot. I'll be honest, man. I'm having a hard time looking at 3 parlays for this card. It's probably 2 with a very small one. It's probably 2 full parlays, 4 to 6 legs, and then a smaller one. Pick a couple of these people to get it done inside the distance. Ozzy, there he is. Get after it, bud.
Yeah, mate, I'm back. Tavares has some of the best takedown defense in the division, man. He's at 80%, and he must have had 20 UFC fights or more, you know. But having said that, Iron Turtle at this price, man, I don't like it one bit. I mean, if this is going to be 15 minutes on the feet, it's probably going to be close. But, Turtle, if he does get that takedown, man, one thing he is really good at is finding that back position. That's where he gets his wins, a lot of rear naked chokes. So, yeah, not mad at anyone taking the sub prop. But it'd want to be a nice number. I don't want to see it at plus 200 or something like that. I'd want a bit nicer number just because the takedown defense of Tavares, although he's not very durable anymore, he's old.
I'm looking for plus 350 on that shit, Ozzy. But I'm just being
Yeah, I
honest.
don't blame you. Even round 3, man. Honestly, round 3 sub. I could see a club and sub too,
Yeah.
Tavares has been pretty durable, but, he's been less durable of late. So, yeah, I could see that angle as well.
Just to throw this out there, anybody wants on the mic, man. We right now it's just a couple of us because no one's, that's usually what it is. So I just throw it around. But if anybody wants to jump on the mic and put your hand up and get a take on anything, you're more than welcome to do that. Yeah, Ozzy, I'm telling you, that's going to be a play. And that third round Iron Turtle submission, I'll bet you'll be able to get that shit at 1,800, man. And you should take it. You should fucking take it. I can't see. I don't feel like I ever see third round submissions under plus 1200. So I assume he'll be somewhere in there. Maybe where's his submissions at? Second round, first round, second round. Yeah, I think you'll get great odds on the fucking third round sub, bro. I think that'll be a great play.
Yeah, that's a good point because I think it gets to the third round at a high clip. I think we're going to see a third round. So if you've got his sub prop and he hasn't hit the sub yet, now it's the third round. Maybe just if you are going to bet sub, you're going to put like half a unit on it. Maybe put a quarter unit on the sub and a quarter unit round 3 sub
Yeah,
and get a
I
bit of
agree
double
with that.
bubble.
I agree with that. I think that that's a sharp look, even though Tavares hasn't been, even though it doesn't follow patterns of what they have done. I just think that's a sharp look. Mike, you'll probably tell me the correct take on this fight, bro. What do you got on this one?
All right, so I like Junyoung Park by decision, but honestly, I think the value's on Brad Tavares. Like, I don't think he's washed or anything. His striking is clean. His takedown defense is something that's just very awesome to watch because he reacts immediately with the right technique and everything. And the only thing Junior Park is going to be able to do, because he's not going to be able to wrestle him, the size of Tavares is going to be very hard for him to deal with. It's just going to be pick Tavares apart from the outside. Otherwise, well, actually, yeah, that's his only way to victory. I don't think he's going to be able to grapple him. I think it's just pick him apart from the outside. His punches are very slick. They're always on target, and he knows how to stay right outside of his opponent's range and getting right into his range very smoothly. So I would say Junior Park by decision, but I can't hate on anyone who bets on Tavares.
Yeah, I couldn't be mad at that. Like you heard me saying, man, Park is usually just a skip for me. I just feel at this point like he's something I could probably look at in a parlay. Uh, but I'm in the same place you are. If someone feels like they see any side on Tavares at all, I've got no real argument or debate for it. All right, so man, shout out Dead Picks. He don't get on the mic much, but he's our tech guy over here, and he's always here on Tuesdays, and I fucking love him for it. We've been doing pretty decent over on YouTube. We got kicked off the algorithm because we posted the Chiwiwi and the Unpredictable, and someone copyrighted us for it. So that fucking sucks. So we're on a temporary out of the algorithm over there, according to what YouTube told us. But we're still getting pretty decent hits over there on the live stream and the replay throughout the week, man. So it's important to us to do that. These are the only two places we're doing it now. We've just narrowed it down to YouTube and Twitter. And if we can get Twitter going right, man, fuck YouTube, but not really. I'm going to do video content in the next few weeks. I'm just irritated about it. Anyways, let's hit the main event. Ozzy, I seen your hand go up and go down. You want to get something before we go to the main event?
No, no, no. I was just doing a thumbs down for getting bounced from YouTube, man. That's fucking crazy. The amount of stuff people rip off directly from the UFC and everything fights. They put highlights. They don't get kicked. What'd you get kicked for?
So,
Chihuahuas? That's insane.
no, so here's what it is. Here's what I figured out. So there's this, I can't remember the name of the company, but there's the name of it's called something TV. It's a simple word TV. And they're an Asian company. So I originally disputed it. Like, no, they don't own anything. What I found out is that they're an Asian broadcast partner for the UFC. So anything that, and I talked to some other people, anything you post in clips that has young up and coming Asian fighters in it, when it hits 10,000 likes, they flag, or 10,000 views, you get flagged, like almost money line every time. So it was Tatsuro Tyra that got me flagged, and who did the who did the unpredictable, who did that shit, whoever it was. He's another up and coming Asian guy, and I'm assuming that those do big social media grabs for the Asian broadcaster, and I wasn't really aware, so they flag you for those. So we got hit for 2 reels for that. Normally it says there's a copyright, you can't, it won't air in this country, or there's a copyright, it won't be visible here, and it still goes. But we got hit with 2, and it says it takes you out of the algorithm and you got to wait 60 days. So we're on our waiting list, just trucking along right here. Dead Picks, nice to see that hand up.
Yeah, did we skip a fight? I feel like we skipped. We didn't skip the Kelleher Gibson fight, right? 'Cause I know I stepped away for one of them, but I think we skipped the Kelleher Gibson, and I think we skipped Singwa Choi, Steve Garcia.
Kelleher Gibson. Man, is that on the?
Yeah,
It was. I know it's a fight.
it's right there, beneath the Maverick, like on the
Oh
odds board.
man, you skip the best fight of the night.
That is a good fight. I can't believe I skipped that motherfucker. Good call. Good
And
call.
then you got Choi and Steve Garcia. I'm
We
not
hit
sure if we
Steve
did that
Garcia.
one.
You walked away. I shouted you out.
Oh yeah. I figured, yeah. All right, cool. Who was the
Yeah.
pick for that one? It was Steve. It was Steve, right?
Yeah, everybody picked Steve. It was pretty easy. Well, everybody that's up here picked Steve.
All right, cool. And then for the Kelleher Gibson fight, we don't gonna really get into it. I'm pretty sure Gibson's gonna fucking smoke. So, I mean, just look at the odds board on that one.
Yeah, minus 204 on Gibson, plus 164 on Kelleher. The over under 1.5, minus 180 to go over. Oh, I got to. You're coming back through, Dead Picks. There we go. Thank you, brother. Minus one, what was it? 188 on the over, plus 145 on the under. Yeah, I mean, I got to think Cody Gibson's looked great of late. Let me put these two. See, they're not on UFC stats, but if you go to our site and you just click where it says compare fighters, it fills the names in for you. And then you check UFC and hit compare, and we have full tail of the tape and everything here. So both guys are coming off of wins. Kelleher's coming off a loss to Cody Garbrandt. Gibson's coming off a loss to Johns. Shit, I forgot. I knew he lost to Katana. Bro, I'm not playing this fight. Neither one of these guys have won shit, and I'm just a sucker because I like Cody Gibson because he was on the fucking tough. I'm not playing this shit. You suckered me to come back to get my hopes up, Dead Picks. We should have skipped this motherfucker. What are you talking about, bro? Mike, what do you Mike, what do you got on the Gibson Kelleher fight?
Oh man, I wish I would have studied the fight because I really wanted to come with the reason why Kelleher should be the pick, but I didn't study. As far as I can tell by memory, Kelleher, in my eyes, should be the pick because he only loses to elite fighters. Everyone else he beats up. Only like it, you got to be faster than him, and you got to be way more skilled. And I don't see how that goes to Cody Gibson. Cody Gibson is a pretty defenseless fighter. He tries to keep it high pace, and Kelleher has shown that he can work with an opponent that's longer and that can keep a higher pace than him. So it may look good on the numbers with Cody, but I think Kelleher lands the real shots that matter and wins.
Yeah, you're trying to pick you're trying to pick who's less fadeable here though. Like this is I'm not mad at your pick. Shit, at dog money, I guess taking a shot at Kelleher if you're gonna play the fight probably isn't a horrible play, but man, I'm killing these guys on the stats. I can think of them in the octagon. I know what Kelleher looks like. I know how he bounces in and out when he can. I know he's got that stupid ass stance. Cody Gibson probably is a rough matchup for him, but I don't think I could put any parlays on Cody Gibson. I think that might get your leg broke on you and piss you off. Aussie.
Yeah, I have studied this fight a little bit, and I kind of like the underdog here too, man. I think if it's a money line, it's definitely the underdog. I don't think yeah, I don't know about the knockout. I kind of favor the submission. Cody Gibson's had 4 losses, and I think they were all by guillotine choke. And Kelleher, I think he's got 10 sub wins. I think most of them are probably by guillotine. He's got really good front chokes. Man, this is dog or pass for sure. Although every single person he's lost to would be a favorite against Cody Gibson. There's no doubt in my mind. Even the guys he's fought lately are all beasts. I don't know why he doesn't. He never gets a soft touch. This is the easiest fight he's had in quite a while. But like he said, he is kind of getting towards fade territory. He's lost his last 3 in round 1. That's a little concerning. But here, I think he's got a chance, man. I don't think that the odds really represent his chances here. So I'm probably gonna have some sub. I'm praying that's a good line. I mean, even sub 1. I think. Let me just double check. So I'm not. Yeah, 8 of his 10 submissions have been in the first round. So I might take some sub 1. He does slow down a little bit. If he doesn't get it done early, he's probably not going to get it done. Um, Again, he might win the first 7.5 minutes and lose the second 7.5, and it's round 2 might be the decider if it goes the distance. But I don't know, man. I'm going to take a stab at this guy for a sub prop. I'm sure the number's probably going to be good. It's probably going to be a bit sneaky. So, what was the under on this fight, Joe?
The
We haven't
under,
got the
the
Australian books.
under,
Haven't opened yet.
the under is set at 1.5, and
Whoa.
you're getting plus 145 under, minus 188 over.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, the round 1 sub might be a decent number. So yeah, fingers crossed. I get something good because I don't really want to lay too much on this guy, even though his money line price is good. I don't really want to put a full unit on this guy.
Yeah, these aren't guys that you should be. I don't know. I'm skipping the parlays, bro. I'm skipping it. So I'm not mad. I think your eye is probably good. I think Kelleher is a. I think both of you guys were looking for a reason to bet Kelleher. I just feel like the problem is we're looking for a reason to bet him, guys. Sometimes that means, as a parlay better, that means you got to skip it. For guys who do money line, fight to fight, stack units, if you hit on Kelleher for plus money, man, that's very good for business for you. So I'm not saying don't play anything on it. I'm just saying for me in parlays, that's not something that I like. We're gonna move on to the main event: Amanda Lemos versus Virna Jandiroba. 35 books, 11 days. Lemos is plus 111 on average. Jandiroba is minus 139 on average. The over under is coming in at 2.5, plus 145 for the under, plus minus 188 for the over. Similar odds, different round set to the last fight. It says 2.5 on our odds board, but I'll bet you that that's 4.5 and that it's coming through wrong. The next thing we're getting ready to upgrade is so that we'll get all of the we're doing a thing where we can move the books around on our end. Soon you guys will be able to move them around on your end. But the next thing we're going to adjust is so that we get the alternate rounds too. And this one is coming in at 2.5, but I'll bet you that's one specific book that reported it first and set that to the AI on the board so it thinks it's 2.5. I'll bet you that's over 4.5 at minus 188, under 4.5 at plus 145. I don't have anything in front of me to verify that, but we'll correct that because we know that it's an issue sometimes. That's getting corrected next. But I like Virna here. I'm a huge Lemos fan. I don't think she's a fade. I think she's a great fighter. But I think Virna will have her number. I do think Virna will be able to take her down. I do think Virna will be able to see success in the takedowns. I don't think that Virna can strike with her. At least not um, power wise. I don't think she can stand in front of her and take what Lemos has to offer. Um, like blow for blow. Sorry, I'm stumbling on my words here, guys. I don't think she can stand in front of her and exchange with her. I don't even think she has the striking volume to stand in front of her and exchange with her. But I think we can count on her to do what we know she's going to do, to get some takedowns, see some control time, see some cage control. I think she grinds it out, and I think she will. She could see some late round success in a finish against Lemos. I don't know that I will play that, but Loopy or not Loopy, Jandiroba by finish, by submission is something I'm definitely going to look at. I have 3 fights that I'm going to tape this week, and this is one of them. I've been making a list here over to the right. Um, this one's going on there. I'm going to tape it and see if I can find a reason not to want to play the Jandiroba sub. But I think it's a good play, and I don't think you always have to look at for a history of submission. We seen what Jessica Andrade did to her. She didn't even have any answer for that. I don't think that was. I know that there was some power involved there, power in position, but I just don't think that Lemos has the greatest grappling prowess. I know we've seen her hit the guillotine on Michelle Waterson, but drop the gilly. I just don't give a lot of credits on gillies. Whatever. So I'm definitely on Virna here. I think -139 is a nice line on her money line, and I'll be looking to see if I should play her submission. Mike, what do you got on this one, bud?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. As soon as I saw that matchup, I knew I was like, Verna's the play all the way. Just the grappling is going to be too much. Of course, there's going to be danger early because that's where she's at her strongest because that's when she's fastest. But I think overall, Verna's going to play it safe and just grapple. And eventually, I think probably round 4, round 5, she'll submit her.
Yeah, I think I think it's a crawl on her and rear naked sub her. I mean, it could be something different. I'm not gonna rear naked choke. I'm not gonna fucking play the rear naked specifically. I know Ozzy is the type of guy who might, but man, I just got to see it as a very very live play, and I think Virna is top of the division. I think Virna, give her another fight or two, and I think she's championship material, man. I think Virna is a very good fighter. I've been pretty high on Virna for a little while here, and I'm not the only guy. I'm not looking for credit like, oh, I knew. A lot of us have been pretty high on her. Even when she lost to Rebus, a lot of us were high on her a little before that. Felt like she was making a turn, and she has showed it in her last 3. Aussie.
Yeah, I guess I've got to be the one to go the opposite side here. I definitely see the sub. Obviously, this is a striker versus grappler as much as you can get. Obviously, getting standing arm triangle choked is a terrible look. And honestly, that's how you beat this girl. That's how you're going to come out there and beat a girl like Lemos. But in this fight, I kind of favor Amanda. She's got real power. She presents some problems on the feet. She's a little bit bigger. Virna is normally the bigger girl in there, but she's a little bit bigger, definitely stronger. Um, Southpaw, I just love everything about her stand up here. She's got real power. Not many girls have power at this division, but she is definitely one of them. If she can manage to not get killed on the ground, I mean, we've seen Virna go 3 rounds in her last few fights. Amanda Lemos, she's been in a couple of 5 round fights already. She's main evented before. Um, this is a step up for Virna. Obviously, it presents a lot of problems for Amanda, but I don't know, man. I think if she can manage to not get destroyed early, we've seen Virna go out there and lose a lot of those 3rd rounds in some of the fights she's won. I wish I had pulled her up on Cap MMA um, to check her scorecards, just so I'm not getting that wrong. but I'll do that now while I'm talking. Yeah, I think I don't know. I just really favour the knockout chance. We've seen what she did against what's the other jiu-jitsu girl, Mackenzie Dern. So yeah, I think as long as she can evade that, I know she's got better takedowns than Mackenzie Dern, but yeah, I'm kind of favouring Lemos here. I haven't bet her money line yet, but I'm surprised it hasn't kind of crashed in a little bit more. I don't know what the opener was. I don't know if the money lines moved much. I know there's a lot of action on both sides. I've heard a lot of people going Amanda here. So yeah, and a lot of people going the other side, like you guys were saying. So yeah, it's going to be a good fight. I don't think it goes the distance. I think the under. If you're betting the under, I think you're getting a lot of win equity from both girls. Both girls have a lot of round one finishes. Um, Amanda can knock her out early for sure, and she can definitely get submitted early. If you look at the submission wins from, um, Jandiroba, she's got a lot of early subs. So yeah, I kind of like Lemos knockout Virna sub. I know that's kind of what everyone's thinking in this fight. I don't really think it goes the distance. If it does, it's probably Virna getting takedowns and not being able to submit her. I know she's got a really good arm triangle choke. If I was to pick a submission, it'd probably be the arm triangle. I think Lemos has really spent all camp working on not giving up her back. So, yeah, it's going to be a good fight. I don't mind it as a main event. I'm not a massive fan of the women's fights, as you know, but yeah, this is one I'm kind of intrigued by and looking forward to watching. But I'm going to be Lemos here. I hope I get a good line on the KO.
I would remind you that we've never seen Jandiroba dropped. We've never seen
Yeah,
it.
I'm not surprised. She spends most of her time very close in clinch position and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Well, that pretty much caps the card out. Art C, I seen you grabbed a mic. If you want to talk, bud, feel free. I just checked out your website, fightingstats.com. Pretty cool site here. Looks like you post some pics and some bet analysts. I don't have a lot of time to look at it, but I'm going to leave it up on my screen so I can go through it after our space is over here, bud. But if you want to get on the mic for anything, you can throw your hand up. Short of that, that pretty much closes out the card. Oh, go ahead, Art. Go ahead.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, no, I was just going to pile on to what Ozzy said. Ozzy and I tend to sort of agree on a lot of things, but I'm going to be on Amanda Lemos as well. If you have 5 minutes, I can go through a very detailed breakdown. I have all the stats. Part of Fighting Stats is that we track a lot of things that UFC stats don't have. So if you don't mind, I'll just give you a case for the Amanda Lemos side. One of the things I really see is that I see a lot of similarities between Mackenzie Dern and Virna Jandiroba. I see that they're similar fighters, good on the ground, but poor wrestling, poor overall striking. And I think Amanda Lemos really laid out the game plan in that Mackenzie Dern fight. She's going to really want to stay on the outside, circle off the fence, stay in kicking range. That's going to be very key. And you'll be able to see it within the first couple of minutes of the fight if Amanda Lemos is in kicking range. 39% of the strikes that Amanda Lemos throws include some sort of a kick, whereas Jandiroba is only 7% from Jandiroba. Jandiroba's actually only thrown 3 leg kicks in her whole UFC career. So Lemos keeping that kicking distance is going to be key. She likes to throw the left kick from southpaw. When she goes to southpaw, she throws, I think 39% of the strikes are going to be that kick to the body. Whereas when she's in orthodox, she goes that hard outside low kick. It really only took 4 outside low kicks against Mackenzie Dern for her to start limping, for her to be like a noticeable welt there. So those hard outside low kicks, Jandiroba hasn't really fought any hard leg kickers. She's allowed 89% of leg kicks to be successful, allowing 31 of 35. And the biggest leg kickers she's really fought are Amanda Ribas, that landed 15 of 15 leg kicks, and Mackenzie Dern, that landed 9 of 10. Lemos is a lot harder leg kicker than both of those girls there. So she's going to have a huge kicking advantage if she can maintain that kicking range. The other thing I really notice is that if she stays in kicking range, Jandiroba likes to stay in that kicking range as well. She throws a lot of jabs. 29% of her shot selection is jabs. 26% of them are the 1-2s. And she really steps into her jab and the 1-2. She puts a lot of weight on that lead leg. So that lead leg in orthodox is going to be very susceptible to that outside low kick. Hit that outside low kick 4 or 5 times. Jandiroba will not be able to put a lot of weight on that lead leg. It really affects her striking. And it's not like Jandiroba has a ton of power in her hands either. She has 0 knockdowns in her UFC career. Lemos has really only been knocked down once, and that was against Zhang Weili. So striking wise, Lemos is levels above Jandiroba on the feet. I think she can counter her. I think Jandiroba does really extend and overextend in the 1-2s. It almost looks like she's swimming out there doing a front crawl. So I can see Jandiroba throwing those 1-2s again. 26% of the time she throws it, and I think Lemos has a really nice step back right hand counter. She landed it against Durden. She dropped her in that second round with it, where she circles, plants, and then throws the right hand down the middle. Drops drops Mackenzie Durden. I do think that Jandiroba was semi-rocked against Lupe in that third fight. I know it didn't count as a knockdown, but she has been wobbled a little bit. So the striking levels is levels above. I think Amanda Lemos destroys her on the feet. Obviously, Jandiroba has to get the fight down to the ground. And overall, her takedown of offense hasn't been that great. Jandiroba only about 35% takedown accuracy over her UFC career. And then I take a look at Amanda Lemos. She survived 25 minutes on the ground with Zhang Weili, and Zhang Weili is a complete beast on the ground. Also, Mackenzie Durden's probably the best grappler in the division, almost all of WMMA, and she went 15 minutes with Mackenzie Durden. Mackenzie Durden getting almost 2 minutes of top time in round number 1 and 2 minutes of top time in round number 3. One thing to note, Amanda Lemos has never given up full mount. She does a very good job of preventing that position. You think about the Mackenzie Durden fight. Mackenzie Durden did not attempt a submission in that fight, and it's because Amanda Lemos really defended the positions well. She kept, Durden in half guard or side control, really preventing her from really getting any submissions off. However, she did end up losing those rounds or being on the back for most of those rounds because she plays it safe. She doesn't really give up a lot of positions. She doesn't risk getting up and giving up a submission. That's where the key is. So if Jandiroba wins the fight, it's probably going to go to decision. It's probably going to be a lot of top time. I don't think Amanda Lemos risks too much in terms of giving up the submission. But I think if it does stay on the feet, especially with those low kicks into the later rounds, I think that Jandiroba can be like a one-legged fighter, and it's going to really affect those takedowns. They're going to be harder and harder as the rounds go on, and I can see Lemos finishing in the later rounds as well.
I mean, yeah, the stats kind of support what we all know. I was listening to what you were saying there. They definitely support what we all know. I do know that the leg reach is a little. It's like an inch and a half, or an inch in Jandiroba's favor. Uh, I don't know. Lemos is always short.
Jandiroba
Yeah,
is not going
I'm
to throw
not
any
mad
leg
at it,
kicks
man.
though, but yeah, she's not going to throw any kicks, so the leg reach not really a factor in that. It's just the overextension and just how she extends on the 1-2s and just being open to the leg kicks is just a huge red flag for me.
Yeah, if you start to like, I know something I've noticed is that that's not really a big enough discrepancy, but it seems like people whose legs are much longer, um, they tend to have an easier time checking kicks. You would think naturally that that would go backwards, but it tends to be that the taller guys with the longer legs seem to have an easier time checking kicks. That's probably not relevant here. I think Jandiroba just manhandles her as far as the grappling goes. Lemos is going to try to be strong and explosive early and probably gas out. I see the late round finishes. Before we get out of here, before we call this one over, Aussie hit on something. If you go over to our site and you type in someone's name in the search bar and you click cards, it will only search the top fighter, but you can search. We've got like 3,500 scorecards in our archives right now. And, we add them every week. They get added usually shortly after the card, no later than like on a Monday. You can check every scorecard, and I mean it's almost every card on the internet. And we don't claim to have taken them. They're credited when they pop up to most of the places. Right in the image, you can tell who took it or where it came from. But we went out and we made the collection of almost 3,500 of them. Some are Bellator, some are MMA fighters in boxing. Very few of those, but we definitely went out, hit an archive of that. We also have an analyst area that's kind of new. It is a fight GPT that predicts fight outcomes. We call the system DARS. DARS is 13-3 right now, and picking fighter plus method 8-6. That may not sound impressive, but they're picking fighter. It's picked fighter plus method 8-6 13-3 on money line picks. We've got 3 of those posted over on our site. I'll give them to you guys right now. But there's like 10 more for upcoming cards posted. Before I do that, Ozzy, what do you got, bud?
Sorry, mate. Just while I was talking, I pulled up those scorecards I was talking about. So Jandiroba is 2-4 in round 3. So she's seen 6 round 3 scores, and she's won 2 out of 6. So we got an extra 2 rounds at the end of this if it does get to that 3rd round. So just something to think about.
Fair enough. I think we've seen a bit of an improvement in that of late. I'll be honest, a lot of how I feel about Jandiroba is Jandiroba of late. That's full transparency. Jandiroba, whole career overview. Lemos is a better fighter in my opinion, but at this point where they're at, I think Jandiroba is in better shape and just honestly stronger. I know that I'm not talking about punching power. I know that you bodybuilders can't always throw the hardest punches. You know what I mean? Like I know Lemos will probably throw the harder punches, but I think Jandiroba will have a strength advantage pretty much everywhere else, and I expect it to be somewhat evident. Like I said, Lemos may look explosive in the first round, countering takedowns and shit, and everybody's gonna be going, "Oh, see, she could get the stuff," but tell me what she looks like after 7 minutes stuffing takedowns, because Jandiroba's still going to be shooting them. So I just think it changes there, but I'm not mad at anybody on Lemos. I think she is a great fighter. Both of these women have 8 first-round finishes in their career. Lemos has 8 knockouts, 3 submissions. Jandiroba has 13 fucking submissions and 20 finishes, or in 20 wins. Yeah, man, that submission is fucking live. There's just no way around it. So, let me see here. I'm going to go over to the Dars picks. All right, so what I've got here, we did the Tavares versus Iron Turtle fight. Dars picked Damn, sorry, boys. I got something in my fucking mouth hitting my smoke there. So it picked Park at a 55% win probability. That might not sound really high, but most picks are at a 55 or 60% win probability. We've only seen a few that hit 65, 70, or 75% win probability. So the 13-3, a lot of those are 55 or 60% win probability wins. So it's got Park at a 55% win probability. It has Park's most likely method, 50% submission, 30% KO, 20% decision. So Dars, by probability, this is statistic crunching. This is every bit of info we can find on these guys data wise for at least 8 fights back if possible. Sometimes that's not possible, so it's less than that. But it's every fucking thing we can find on them, dumped into a very specific AI question, a GTP question set that dumps out one answer with all of this. It's not a back and forth. It's not a manipulation. There is literally what we call our format, and the information is dumped in, and our format kicks it out. So it's picking Park at a 50% submission probability. If you are looking to the other side, Tavares sitting at 45%, by probability, 50% decision, 40% KO, 10% submission. Yeah, fighters aside, fight outcome probability, no fighter considered, none of the shit I just talked about considered. This just takes all the data and outputs it separately with the fighters aside. 50% chance the fight goes to decision, 35% chance the fight ends by KO, 15% chance the fight ends by submission. The numbers don't lie, and I'll be honest, the times that they have lied to us, we've we've kind of called it. We've all known. Like, it picked Pav to beat Volkov. We knew. We all knew. Everybody in here knew it was going to be wrong. But there's no altering it. The Darce is on its 5th input, meaning that upgrading the amount of input that it can take and then give us data back on. Sometimes it gives us round by round breakdowns and finish probabilities. So yeah, I don't know. Just something we've been working on. Art, yeah, I seen your hand go up, bud. Go ahead.
Very curious, very interesting work there. Very more curious in terms. I'm a numbers guy, so just what type of stats that you're putting into your machine learning there specifically, and then sort of. I know you said that you put the numbers into the AI spits it out, sort of thing. So I'm wondering what specific inputs are you giving him to sort of get the results that you're getting.
So I can't tell you my inputs because that gives it away, and then what we do has no value. But to tell you the data inputs that it's getting, not the prompts, rather. So basically, everything you would find on UFCstats.com, several fights back. There's more information available on them on UFCstats.com or UFC.com. That extra information gets compiled. Then, if you're over on our website, when you type in tail of the tape, it draws other information, and sometimes it gives us even more data. So everything is inputted. The system has been taught to account for losses. It's been taught to account for age, height discrepancies, tendencies for win losses by statistics. It finds round tendencies. Sometimes it literally gives like a round by round breakdown of how it will think the fight can go. If you check our page and you search far enough back, it the first one we did that's not even in the record, it's because I was still fucking with it and I just wanted to run one. The first one we did was Sean Strickland versus Israel Adesanya, and it actually said round by round that Sean would just outpace him and it would get worse and worse as the fight goes. And it just highly favored Sean deeper and deeper into the fight. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it has enough information, I guess, and it just doesn't give all of that back. I do not manipulate it though. It gets like I haven't looked lately since I tuned it for 5 to account for some age a little better. But I think it is a 900 line prompt set that it gets. Because it forgets. AI forgets. Most people think AI is like this miraculous thing and you can just be like, oh, tell it what to do. It will sometimes, but most of the time it forgets what it's doing. When you're having it compute tons and tons of data, it'll completely fucking forget what it's doing. It'll give you the wrong fighters and all types of shit. So many hours into that 900 line set, but that's what it does. That's how it's just statistical probabilities, but sometimes it'll tell you how it'll give you round tendencies. It does some pretty amazing shit sometimes. Yeah, if you're betting on it, which every one of these says, we do not suggest betting what our AI says. But if you're betting on it, you'd be hitting at a pretty high clip right now. And it does not always favor the favorites. I seen, what does that say? Go Dolphins 10. If you want to get on the mic, man, just throw your hands up and I'll throw it right over to you. Or shortly after I'm done saying whatever I'm saying. The next fight that we did was the Garcia Choi fight. This one, it does give some round by round breakdowns of what the fighters are doing, strikes landed. I'm not going to read all of that. Win percentage probabilities are what we're after when I do the spaces. I just like to give the data. There's more over there. So, that's what encourages you guys to go to the site and click the analyst area and check out the upcoming cards. So it breaks down Garcia first. His overall win probability is 55 to 60%. So we marker that at 60%. He has a 40%, 45% knockout probability and a 25% submission probability. So even though it does not name the decision probability, you can deductively look at that. 45 plus 25 is 70. There is a 30% chance that he wins by decision. But 45% chance that Garcia, 60% chance Garcia wins, 45% chance he does it by knockout. It really does give you a round by round breakdown of what these guys do. And then we'll go over to Choi here, sitting at 40% win probability, 35% on the KO, 15% on the submission. So if he gets it done, probability of statistics are that it goes to the distance for him to get it done. The overall fight probabilities, all fighters aside, this is, it's the same output, but this is a completely different thing that it's doing. Fight ends by decision 45%, fight ends by KO, or fight ends by decision 40%, fight ends by KO 45%, and submission 15%. Nothing there I would feel strong enough to bet, fighters aside, but I do look at the win probability on Garcia on top of the fact that we all picked him. I don't know. Garcia seems like a good play, and I wouldn't be surprised if that one racks up a W for Darce. And then last and finally, Jandiroba versus Lemos. Lemos, down to the nitty gritty. 50 to 55% on Jandiroba and 45 to 50% on Lemos. So it's calling it down the middle, but it favors Jandiroba at 55%. Lemos's KO is at 40%. Jandiroba's submission is at 45%. And it did not give it any other way. That's just what it said. And then it says fight ends by knockout 30%, fight ending by submission 20%. And all on its own, it said fight likely round. I know this is funny. Most likely round to end the fight, round 4 or 5 due to potential cardio issues. It kicks that out on its own. So even statistically, the AI can see that there's going to be a problem with these women for cardio late into the fight. And it doesn't just say that about Jandiroba. It says that about both of them. So take that for what you will. I assume that we'll be racking up another couple W's for the DAR system on the website. Ticker on the analyst page this weekend. And that's all I got, guys. We stretched the space a few minutes further than I thought we would. Everybody that's in here that's new, I really appreciate you guys coming in. We've been at this for a while. If you came in late and you just want to hear about all this week's headlines, give us a replay. For about an hour, we hit the headlines pretty hard. Go to 2 minutes in, and then we should get on the mics real shortly after that. We're on YouTube, even though we're out of the algorithm right now. We really appreciate follows. We do a small, much less formal fight review and bet review on Sunday nights with our guy Blonde Olives, Awaken My Usman down there. It's a real casual show, and I really enjoy it. Ozzy always comes out for us. Ozzy does a Friday night breakdown with his team. I know it might not be your team, but to us, that's your team, Ozzy. So if you follow Ozzy, they do a little bit later in the week after some weigh-ins and things have happened, a little bit more perspective on some of the breakdowns. Give him a follow. Give me a follow. Mike is on the team over here. He does actual tape work for us. I know he wasn't able this week, but he does hard tape work. Him and Trace will be back. Trace does tape work, and then Dead Picks does our YouTube broadcast. So